What's up, boys?
What's happening?
The
What's
real
up, Chris?
deal in the house.
Coming from the west side. How you doing?
Good. Where are you staying at now, Chris? Where's your home spot?
I'm in San Diego.
San Diego. Okay.
San Diego.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
we'll get right into it. I know me and you talk, on a lot about guys in the industry now. They're shooting up all their body parts and they deny it. And you got other people that know what they're doing and they deny it too, or they play like they don't know what's going on. Like, oh, I don't know what happened to Rami's legs, or I don't know what happened to his back, or I don't know what that lump is. And what, people do that stuff? And like, what I'm talking about. There's several different people, but it's just like, it is what it is. And I don't personally have a problem with it. If you can make it look good and you go on stage, you fill up your arms a little bit or muscle a little bit. But when you got quads that are like the anatomy of the quad, we all know what it is. And you got a quad suite coming out like that has like no muscle in it. It's just a big like blob coming out like that, or a shoulder coming out like that. Like that's what it's kind of like, but they're not counting off anymore. I think they used to count off, right? And when y'all were competing.
Yeah, we were told that you will be counted down or taking points away if it looked like you have some type of abnormality, with your muscle groups. Like I say, the anatomy is a certain way. There's no mutant person out there that just has muscle that's so unbelievably put together in the gym with weights. That's going to go outside of that. You're not going to have it. It's just not humanly possible. That's why I have a problem with it, when it's just not even humanly possible. Like, what type of message are you sending to the next generation? Like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Not exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
Right. I mean, when it comes to like the synthol or site enhancing oil period, everybody's like, that's like a taboo subject. Everybody says, I never use it. But we all know most people tried it, used it at some point to enhance their arms a little bit or whatever a little bit at a certain point. I know very few people that haven't at least tried it. And everybody's saying, always like, oh my gosh, I would never use something like that. And it's been always such a taboo because it's kind of different than saying, oh yeah, I use a bunch of gear. This is my cycle. Cause it's like people think like, oh, you just fill up a muscle with oil. It doesn't work that way. Like you have to have enough muscle there. And then you can put a little site enhancement in certain spots just to enhance the look, enhance the fullness. But these guys are going past that.
Yeah, are you enhancing it? Are you putting too much? Are you enhancing the area you're just trying to balance out the physique? Or you just doing it just because you don't want to try to go the extra mile in the gym with the weights? Like all that stuff. And there's also some people that don't want to work hard, but they'll eat the food, they'll do, some cardio, and the rest they just try to blast their way to whatever look they're trying to get. The only thing is you can only do that for a certain amount of time, and then you're gonna go over the edge. And that's when I could see certain bodybuilders on stage, and I'm like, this guy probably have about 2 years left before he's gonna be out of it at a young age also. And that's another thing. A lot of guys at a young age are doing this. It's like, I feel like when you're older, you're on the other side of your career, you count how many years you have left that you can actually get, the nitrogen balance up in the muscle group, that type of, then, whatever you got to do type of thing. That's how I feel about it. But I think guys are doing things so early. I used to not even train with some people because I felt like they're pinning the back of their hamstrings, trying to make this. And then you hear people say, oh, he had the hamstring drop. A hamstring drop, if it's naturally there, okay. But if it's like, obviously it's not a cut in the whole belly, then it's just enhanced, and there's something someone's not working for. And like I say, sending a message to the next person, like, this is what you need to do to be successful.
Chris, out of all the professional bodybuilders that I've seen and known my entire life. I think there would be a consensus of most people would say that you never did any of that. I never saw lumps on you. I never saw abnormal muscle on you. You always looked like Chris.
Well, the thing is, King, is I'd be so embarrassed if that was like a noticeable thing on me. Yeah. And you got to put something somewhere. And I wasn't putting nothing in my quads. My quads had the same cuts and the same squared off quad. My sweep, it should be like a plate on the side. If it's coming from the top of your hip and going straight out to the side, then that's enhanced. Even if you do see some lines and feathering in the outer quad sweep, it's still, if it's going way out like that, it's not a normal quad. And I think if you watch some of the training from some of the guys that have this type of look, something's not adding up right when you see the intensity is in the basement and there's nothing dictating that look from what you're doing in the gym or what you're actually posting on your page.
So let me ask you this. It's a personal question. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to. You were tight with Flex. Everybody saw the West Coast connection. You, Flex, Paul, that crew. When Flex's arms started to get ridiculous, when Flex's calves, when he really didn't have them, start to get weird looking, did you ever say anything to Flex?
Not really. I mean, it wasn't really our subject to be talking about it. We didn't talk about a whole lot of what you take, and he was getting his little cycles together or whatever he was doing.
Right.
He was doing that. I wasn't a part of what he was buying. He wasn't buying stuff for me, and I wasn't buying stuff for him. So it wasn't like that. But we were tight. You couldn't talk to one of us without talking to all three of us for sure. So we was tight enough for anything, but you could tell that, things were getting out of hand. And, I just felt it was covering up the beauty of the physique slowly but surely. And, that was going to be at the, detriment to the success of the physique in the long run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, the coaches then, and still now, I think no good coach is going to keep telling you to do something when it starts to look weird. They're going to say, hey, man, like Hadi when he had that whole shoulder issue. I'm sure Hani was on his ass. I'm like, dude, stop messing with your shoulders. But he just kept doing it on his own. I know that's what he did.
You think Hani was telling him that?
To stop? Yeah.
I don't know.
I think Hani.
Too many years of too many guys. You look at all the guys. You can go. I don't want to name people's names off, but
name them.
Yeah, name them.
I can't pull up everybody's skirt in one fucking go.
I guess you're saying, Chris, you're saying guys out of his camp then.
You can go on down the list. Everybody knows it's like I said, when I had a guy that I saw doing that, I was like, dude, we can't go no more because I asked you not to do that. I asked you not to do it. You act like I don't see it and I don't know what I'm looking at. I'm not your parents. I'm somebody that's been in the game a long time, 40 plus years, and 70 some odd pro shows under my belt, 15 or 20 amateur shows under my belt, starting from a teenager. Don't act like I don't know what's going on with the human body. I know what's going on. So I just feel like somewhere down the line, people are gonna realize that that's not the end all. That's not the go-to, because it's gonna shorten your career.
And let's separate gear injections from site enhancement injections. Of course, obviously, you have to put your gear places, whatever you put, your shoulders, rear delts, biceps, quads. I think
I never messed with quads. I never messed with the quads. But let me tell you, I don't want to cut you off. Sorry about that. But
no, you're good. Go ahead.
That's another thing. It's like, are you doing gear? Is that your cycle? Or are you doing an extra pin of test or extra pin what EQ in this era just for the side enhancement look?
Yeah.
Are you doing like that, or is it part of your cycle? That's what I don't think is always just part of the cycle.
Which
Right.
brings us to the next, logical question, the logical next topic. Chris, you've seen the evolution. I've seen the evolution. Armon's seen the evolution of bodybuilding. We saw from the Arnold, then to Lee Haney, then to Dorian, and then to Ronnie, and then now to the guys that we have now. What do you think is contributing to the spongy look of today? What do you think is contributing to that? Because I have my own theories. We had Milos on last week. He has his own theories. Everybody has his own theories, and they know, they talk. But I want to hear what you got to say, because you were in the pit fighting this whole time. So what do you think?
What was Milos' theory?
Milos basically comes down to laziness, people not wanting to suffer, Now, I personally think it has to do with the extreme amounts of the peptides, the SARMs, the insulin. I just think it's massive overdosing. That's what I think.
I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that. When I was at a point where I was like, okay, I was in the middle of my career, but I was like, okay, is this what I need to do? I need to take more gear. Do I need to up my gear? Is that going to help me? Okay. I had a summer where I was like, had a bag full of stuff, and a whole grocery bag full. And I was like, I'm going to take it all. I'm going to take it all. And I was like going for it. And what I found was I held a shit ton of water.
Yeah.
And I was just full of fluid. Blood pressure was high. I didn't get stronger. I didn't get better. And I didn't, it was just unhealthy. I felt like sluggish, and I felt like, I was up to 1,500 of tests, maybe 3 Anadrol, and, I was per day. I upped the GH, had everything was just up, but nothing. It was just like, I did this for 2 months, and then I stopped. Slowly, it came off everything, tapered down, and found at the end of the day, it wasn't taking an amount of steroids are going to help me get better. It wasn't that.
But Chris, you took breaks though. You took months off where you weren't taking any gear. Yeah.
But I came from an era where that's where the thing was. There was no TRT. There was no, and I did short things. It was a 6-week cycle. It was an 8-week cycle. Let me do a 12-week cycle. Okay, and then I'm gonna go 12 weeks off. Go 12 weeks on, 12 weeks off, and then I'm gonna go. I was, oh shit, you should go 15 weeks. Okay, I'll do 15 weeks, and do a little bit less off. But when I went off, I went completely off, and but the mindset when you go completely off, now I feel like people don't want to push themselves in the gym. They don't want to push anything. But I was, getting mentored by Robbie Robinson, and his mindset, you need to train harder.
Yeah.
I want to train harder when you're off. Train harder, make everything count even more so. Be more tenacious in the gym. I was still doing, without anything, I was still doing 4 or 5 for like 7 reps. And then once I got on, that all doubled and a little bit over double. But when I was off, I was still very strong, and I was still moving big weight, down to like 150s on the dumbbells, 6 or 7 plates on the squat, something like that. That's without anything. I know people are going to think that's a real thing nowadays, but it was a real thing. And I just felt, I had, when I got on, I just felt like stronger, obviously, but my joints and everything felt better, and my, the nitrogen balance is significantly higher. So that's, certain things like that was was I just felt that was the difference.
Now,
I
Chris,
mean,
dispel the myth. There's a myth. There's a myth that I personally believe that Sean Ray pretty much started. That Chad Nichols had, because you were one of the original Chad Nichols guys. I came on. I'm one of the original Chad Nichols guys. Dispel the myth that Chad made us take a whole bunch of stuff more than anybody else, plasma expanders, this, that. Please explain to them that from your point of view, that from my point of view, it was the exact opposite. I never did that much. Chad was more of a suffer. He never showed you any. He never told you you look great. He was just like, yeah, keep doing what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. Please explain to people the whole Chad Nichols thing.
Okay, so here's my whole experience with Chad. I did a few diets, even the one 98 Olympia. That was my own diet, my own cycle, my own push as far as that harm. I'm just gonna fucking work hard. Work hard in the gym. If it takes me going to the gym 3 times in a day, I'm gonna do it. If it takes me doing an hour cardio at a session, or high intensity cardio at 20 some minutes, high intensity cardio, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pose my ass off. And then even there, 98, I was just walking with Paul because we was boys. He was working with Chad already. I wasn't working with Chad. So then he just gave Paul some instruction, looked at him. We looked at Flex. Flex had the room really dark, 98, because it was that Wednesday and he was super, super watery and really behind. And it was a miracle what Chad did with Flex. But as the probably look, it wasn't like, I want you to take a bunch of shit or something like that. He actually flushed him out with a bunch of water. It was like tons of water.
Right.
It was tons of water. He had him drink, and then I couldn't believe how he looked at the Olympia as far as he was not his best, but where he came from Wednesday into Saturday, it was a miracle.
Right.
All right. So then 99 came around. I said, hey, Chad, I'd like you to help me with the Olympia. So 99, we started working together. I think that was probably one of my best looks to date, as far as with maturity.
Yeah.
Older. I did work with Chris Cito when I was younger. I still had that mindset of what I did with Chris throughout my career. When I worked with Chad, he was Chad was like, it was moderate. It was like, here's a list of what you should do as far as food, your nutrition, everything else. He didn't, even the cardio, he'll say, okay, you should probably do about this amount of cardio or whatever, but it was never nothing. I never got the plastic expander memo or the take this or that or whatever, but it was never, if it was something like that, he didn't give me that. That's for sure, because it was all just moderate stuff. I got in shape. I didn't do the weekly check-in thing. I just said, okay, I'm gonna get to work and I'm gonna hit you up around 2 weeks out, and then we're gonna land this plane. And then he'll come by to my room, and I never gave him any problem as far as he didn't like a lot of people I had in my room when he
Oh, I knew you were going to go there.
But that got less and less throughout the years. But when I was older, he was like looking around like, damn, man, everybody's here good. But yeah, man, it was a lot of fun working with Chad, and it was never pushed that type of limit. I mean, when he started to fill me up, I remember one time I was like, oh God, this is not gonna work. This is not looking good.
Who'd you click better with, Chris? Aceto or Chad? Who you felt like better was a better coach?
I don't know about better. It's just different styles, I don't know about better. I think both very effective. If I had an athlete that wanted to work with either one of them, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I know a lot of people wouldn't like that, but I mean, I'm a believer in both guys. They didn't ever push me to something that was crazy, and I trust that they're still probably the same type of guy.
But
But,
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of there's 5 different coaches or
you never,
I'm just saying
and
get you the same they get you the same place. It's just kind of sometimes people click
yeah,
with certain people a little bit better.
yeah. I had the best success with either one of them.
So I know, like throughout your career, Chris. I mean, you got and I know it bothers you being called like the party guy and all that stuff. And then after a while, I mean, as you get older and obviously matured, and, here's the deal, like when I was competing and I was hanging around people and I was hanging around like people like at y'all's level and all that stuff, everybody was partying. And then now people's like, oh, they're talking about all these substances. That's crazy if you do that. I would never touch that. I'm like, what do you, all y'all did that. Like all the bodybuilders I knew all had New Bane and GHB and their little fanny pack at the Gold's Gym, and like they all did it. And so I mean, there was some here and that were pretty squares, and like I hear Jay Cutler talking. He was just talking the other day about something on somebody. He's like, well, what is that? What does it make you feel like? And something like that. But and so I don't know, about certain people, but most people dabble in both. I mean, GHB you could buy in the store, obviously, and then in the magazines they made it illegal. And then New Bane, it is what it is. But a lot of guys play like they never touch the stuff. They never messed with it. So did that whole getting back to being called a party guy? Did that bother you after a while? Like, man, I work my ass off. I do everything all these other guys do. This is just my way. And if you could go back in time, would you do things differently at all, or that was Chris's way, and that's how you had to occupy your mind to not cheat on the diet or whatever?
Here's the thing. When I was 18, I was bouncing in clubs, right? From 18 till I didn't stop bouncing until 3 weeks out before the USA 93. So I'm up 5 nights a week all those times. I also had a job at the GNC store part-time right before I turned pro. So I'm up. I'm not a guy that required a lot of sleep, so it was never an issue for me. So from 1990, when I moved from Palm Springs, where I was bouncing there, I moved to Roxbury when I was 1990, 91, 92, 93, like that. That's when I stopped. I was up 5 nights a week. Sometimes me and Rico and them were Flex. We would leave the club, go play some video games, eat some food or whatever. Sometimes if we stayed up too late playing, then we would go straight to the gym. We'd be like, we were paranoid about missing a workout. So if I'm doing this, and then I got my pro card in '93, I beat a Francois, I beat Titus, I beat just all these guys that was in my class, and I was the overall winner. Only one guy went pro out of my class. So how is going to a club detriment to my career? How being up at night? Are you saying that when I go to a club, I'm just blowing a bunch of blow and drinking and falling? I mean, that might be, but what's your idea of going out to a club or going out to have a nightlife or being up at that time of hour, going to sleep, getting up in the morning, doing your cardio, doing your thing? So just depends on what people think, and I think they're gonna think the worst. So nothing ever. Even when I got my pro card, I was still going out. We'd go out together, me, Flex, Rico, and then we'd go out together. Ronnie Coleman, Jay, I'd see everybody out. I was probably one of the first ones of my caliber that would fly out to the Sound Factory in New York or go to Vegas or something like that. But this is not in the heat of my training as far as like that. If I had a show coming up and I went to a club, it was probably like 10 weeks out, 12 weeks out. I had stopped. And then I would, right after the show, I'd commence. We having a good time after the show. How many people not having a good time after the show? After a competition, people had a problem with me going to a club, but it was other guys in the club. It was the rest of the crew was all in the club.
Who had a problem? Your sponsors? Who had a problem? Your sponsors or who?
Like Sean Ray, people like he would bring up the fact that I'm going out on a bender and whatever they call it, But I didn't see no problem. What was the problem? And like these other guys didn't win the Olympia. What was the problem? Like that's not the reason why I didn't win the Olympia. I think a lot was a bunch of bullshit calls when it came down to the Arnold. I know for a fact 2000, 2004, and possibly 2005 could have all been my titles in the Arnold Classic. I
was actually going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
What do you think happened? What happened? Who was pulling the strings?
Jay, I know exactly what he's going to say because I was going to actually ask you about this. I thought that because I remember seeing Chad at the expo at the Arnold, and he's like, Chris is winning. He's like, he showed me a couple pictures. I said, Jesus Christ. He goes, yeah, he's winning. And that was the year Jay supposedly did Cytogen for the first time. And he said, yeah, it maybe looked too stringy, this and that. But you still won, Jay. And Chris got second when everyone, including myself, had Chris winning. I was going to ask you about that. How do you feel about that one? I think it was 2004.
As you can imagine, it bothers me.
Yeah.
But like you said about the party, I don't like when people try to bring up something and then these guys wasn't even alive talking shit to me about, oh, you didn't try hard. I'm doing 10 shows a year. How many guys can do a 10 show fucking season and walk away from the sport? Year after year. It's not 1 year. It's multiple years of 10 competition. If you look at my Wikipedia and see all the shows I did, how are you not working hard? How are you not working hard? I wasn't a guy that wasn't going to slack off in the gym on the cardio. And then I think, to go back to this, I don't want to forget about it. I remember I'm always up at night because I was used to it, right? So what was this in Chicago? This is, I think, where a lot of the rumors started to happen. Is I went on a walk. I finished all my food. I went on a walk, and mind you, I just came off of a 12, almost like a 10-month depression, right? So I didn't leave my house for that length of time, and I ate a pizza every day, just self-sabotaging myself, hating myself. And
what was your depression about during that time?
Just a lot of personal reasons, a lot of personal shit happening. And then a lot of people just go, a lot of people, nowadays it's a great excuse or a good excuse to not do a show, but we didn't have that luxury back then. You were going to lose your contract if you then step up to plate and go play ball. So I use every ounce every day to just sit there and just playing PlayStation and eating a fucking pizza once a day. And then I wouldn't leave my house just to throw out the trash once a week. I throw like 10 boxes a week or whatever I was doing, of Domino's. All the Domino's came to my house, and then I had my check come to the house, so I never had to go anywhere, but I had to get up and work. And I needed every single day to turn that fat all around my waist into a physique. And I ended up taking 8th in the Olympia, but I went out for a walk the night before the show after I ate. And it was a strip club right there. So I walked into the strip club just to check out the local talent. And then I was there for about 20, 30 minutes, but it was some other not competitor, it was some other people from the industry there. And I think they start saying, "Oh, Chris is out partying the night before the show." And I think that just grew legs over the years, stuff like that. But
I mean, I think the after party stuff, like, everybody like, "Hey, Chris," even when I see you, like, "Hey, where's the after party night?" That's after the show. That's after the party. And everybody was partying. Everybody was partying and going out at that time. The after parties were a big deal for shows. So everybody was doing some form of partying. And so why do you feel you got picked on the most out of a lot of other people? Like, "Oh, you went harder," or "You went, what's the deal?"
I asked that question, and they said, "Because you the one had your shirt off, and you the one was you the one was doing the most." So they picked, like, I was the poster boy of it. I was actually held the first couple of after parties, my personally myself. So I think that's why they, I was that guy, but that has nothing to do with how hard I trained or how hard I tried or what I was able to do on the stage.
But on RX Muscle, they had a poll one time, and they asked who was the biggest partiers ever in the IFBB. The top 3 were Chris, Victor, and me. So we're the top 3 guys on that list. All right. Now, here's the ironic thing, and why I bring that up. Victor seems to be doing fine, and he's healthy. He's kicking. Chris is doing fine. He's healthy. I'm doing fine. And a lot of people who talk, they're either dead, crippled, messed up, and there's a lot of problems. So why am I? What's the point of me saying this? Is because I say, Chris, we had our off season and we relaxed. We let loose. I mean, I've said this so many times, and Palumbo's tried to get it out of me. Generation Iron tried to get it out of me. I have stories with Chris, but I'm not gonna say it. I'm not going to say what we did. We had a great time. I have Vegas stories. I have Toronto stories. I have New York stories. But I'm not going to say those things. You know why? Because that was a time where there was no smartphones. There were no goddamn videos. We did our thing. We had our fun. I never, ever saw – and here's the crazy part. At the end of the night, like when we were in Canada shooting the DVD series for Muscle Tech, Chris and I – yeah, we were like the party, but we were the guys back at the hotel. We ate our dinner. We went back. It was Johnny Jackson that came real late that night, and me and Chris were in the lobby. That's another story in its own right there. But I think that a lot of people gave Chris a hard time, and this is actually a compliment to Chris, because what I heard many, many times over when it came to Chris Cormier was, if he only had Dorian's mentality, he would have been 6-time Mr. Olympia. If he would have had this, well, you know what, man? Chris is one of the best that we ever had. He's a Hall of Famer, this and that, and he's still alive, and he's making money, and he's kicking. So I think that if comment has been put to bed.
It's a funny thing. That's another thing was my training. I was training, ultra heavy. Dorian was trying to get me to come out and train with him, stay with him. And I made the mistake of a lot of guys I see making a mistake. If you have an opportunity to up your game in the gym with somebody that's doing it at a high level and you don't take it, that's on you. Maybe that was the thing that was because Manuel was trying to get me to go train with him. He was like saying, "Man, if you go lock it down out there with Dorian for about 3 months, then come back and kick everybody's ass, I could see that happening for you at the Olympia." But the time when I was going to try to make this happen, it's when I had the back injury with the having a staph infection in my back. That that was when I was in New Jersey and I was ready to just go over the pond. I was waiting for Dorian to tell me when it was a good time to come. So it was like, it was a little too late, but then I actually made the trip after I was okay and trying to make a comeback to the sport. But it was at the end of the career, it was at the end of the road, and there was too many injuries piled up, and I wasn't going to be able to display the physique that I wanted, and I just decided to shut it down. Dorian was like, it's too late, man. It's too late. So, but I did learn a lot, and it did up my game mentally and physically. And I took what I learned with Dorian, what I learned over the years. Other people tried to get me to do little things when it came to accepting that pain tolerance. It's going to hurt to make this look. It's going to hurt. It's not going to be easy. And I think a lot of people don't want it to hurt, and they don't want to suffer in that manner, as far as like being a slave to the pain under the weights. So you'll pick heavier weights to not go through the type of pain it takes. But you're going to be cutting your weight in half. You're working with someone like Dorian, you can get stronger, but at first you got to cut the shit in half and then just be okay with it. But this was 15 years ago, and I've been training, with a high intensity style. But just spending all the time with Dorian, him telling me the parts where he screwed up, where he went too far. I have that understanding where he went too far. He said, but I've taken every little syllable he ever told me. I could picture where he told me everything in my mind right now. And it just made me so much of a smarter coach or trainer or whatever you want to call me. I've been helping people for many years, even when, we went against each other at the Ironman. We got to talk about that. Even back then, and I had Melvin in my house staying with me, helping him when he was.
Damn way. You were the Ways coach. That's way back when.
Yeah, all the guys that was, and I don't put the notch on my bio. I don't put the number of guys I helped in my bio, but I've helped awful lot of guys and girls achieve some greatness. And yeah, man, I continue to get back to the sport, and yeah, that's what it is right now, man. It's when I don't have it to give no more, then I won't. But as I have it to give, I'm gonna give it. I have a guy, Momar Ba, is on his way to my house right now, and he's a up and coming classic bodybuilder. He just took second in the FIBO, and he's coming here to work, and hopefully we get him in the show in the next few weeks here.
Nice.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I know Chris. I know you're helping Derek train for a while. What was how was that?
Really? Did I?
What happened? What happened?
I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to get too greasy here, but
get greasy, man.
No. I got a little upset because I was told I was able to make some content, and then I was told I wasn't able to make the content, and that was,
Of y'all training, working out together? You training him?
Yeah. I mean, what else? That interview, whatever we want to do. So it got a little weird, but what I'm proud of, no matter what, is I've set in motion what the plan of attack was going to be from the start. I said, you're going to have to train these abs, and you're going to have to not worry about, you're going to thicken your abs, doing it in a precise way. That's not going to happen. All you're going to do is gain the mind-muscle connection. You're going to be able to improve your posing, because that's been lackluster over the years. No one ever said Derek was going to win a posing round or a posing contest, especially with someone like Samson to go against, right?
Is Derek a hard worker? Be honest.
I mean, he's a hard worker for what he knows. I wanted more. I just wanted more. I wanted more posing, and I wanted more training.
Yeah.
And I wanted to So I don't know if that made us butt heads a little bit, but I wanted more posing. I normally have full control, and I'm going from. I'll start you. I think we had 2 months to go when I first went out there. I said we got to ramp it up right now. So we went straight up into 6 rounds of posing, and I think he was a little shocked. He said that was the most he ever did in his life, and I think he got a little shocked with the leg extensions, a little shocked with the legs, but I just thought, I thought the plan of attack was going to be you need more definition in your quads. You need the ab when they hit an ab and thigh, you need to win that shot or challenge at that shot. When you hit a most muscular, you're going to have to, and I wanted the one like I used to hit with the hands on the hip, one hand on the hip, the one hand in the curl. And then
so Chris, you don't have to say their name, but why was there a problem posting content? If you're just helping them with training and posing, what's the problem?
I didn't know why. I didn't know why. Some people like to have more control of their content. I just think he like to have more control of his content.
There's a term for that. It's called bitch ass.
But you did see when he was staggering from one machine to the other, right? That was with my own phone. That was not a professional camera. That was my own. And
well, I mean, I saw that clip. It's like, you're training it like, why did that? You don't know why that person had a problem. It was like, what was that? He had a problem. He was like, hey, let me post.
I don't know. We never really talked about what is the problem. I just was, I was just a little put off by that. I made 3 trips out to Florida. I made 3 trips. So you flew me out there to work to get you to work, but then we started having discrepancies with how much workload I wanted to put on the posing. And that's the way I run my camps. You're doing Camp Cormier. If you're doing Camp Cormier, then I'm gonna expect a certain amount of work.
Did he correct any Chris, did he correct any poses y'all worked on, or was he?
Yeah, I mean, we started right away with that. Improved the lat spread, the mindset behind that. We improved some training techniques also. I mean, I'm sure he's still doing some of the stuff that I worked on with him. He had someone else coming out from Brazil. Also, it might be a little different in what you expect out of someone in a certain exercise. So that was a little different. So then when I came back, it was a little bit, we never went up from there. Like if you do 6 rounds of posing, you would think you're going to increase more as the show goes. Then he was telling me I knew he was going to be better because he was telling me he didn't really do much the week of the show when he did the shows before. And I knew he had something that was bothering him, little nagging parts of that was bothering him when he would do chest. And I knew if you lighten up the weight, you was going to get a little bit more out of the pecs. So I did that. I put that in the mindset. But I knew if you improve the chest with that, improve the abs, improve the quads, and improve the posing, and I said all these things at 2 months out, you can see it's all been documented. All those things came to light, and that's all the things that Tyler Mannion said when he did the response of, the results of the competition. So I feel like that's all I needed to know was the mission accomplished. Like I say, go ahead.
What's his issue from the front? The chest, the shoulders. Why are the lines aren't all? What's going on with that? Genetic thing, or is it a training thing?
I've seen that. I've seen even the lines, and you even saw recently he was doing leg extensions, and he continued on the diet after you got in shape. It was a good look, but if you continue on that diet and do another show, it's going to be a whole other degree of definition. So I'm expecting to see all the stuff that I was expecting to see before. That's he's got. You saw it. You got striated quads. You got the ab and thigh a good separation between the oblique and serratus, and
It's better. It's
the
not
ab.
great, but it's better.
It's better. That's all we wanted was an improvement, and to utilize it, make an improvement. But if you show all the judges you're improving these areas, it's gonna help you tenfold to when it comes down to judging. When before you was trying to just hit a vacuum because God knows, God knows if you try to crunch down, it wasn't gonna be a good look back in it in the previous competitions. So that's
A
all it
lot of
was.
these
And
guys,
I think people try to get mad because I said I don't know, man. And it was almost like a prodding thing. I was just a little bit salty about not being able to get what I wanted out of the pose and get what I wanted out of the training, backing off of, trying to dictate the weights and everything like that. And that's like, I don't really work like that. I know how to work, and I know how to get the results. And that's what it was going to take. But if you back off of that for whatever reason, it's not going to be the exact same thing. It's not. But, maybe at that point in time, mentally, you're not ready to go to that level. And I understand those levels because I was that person also. When I was working with Robbie Robinson, he was like, he wanted me to squeeze that muscle hard. The shit hurt. And I was like, not about it. I'd rather go 80 pounds and not hurt. And it's just going to strain the tendons more. It's just going to not give you the development and density that you would need with the heavier weight.
Right.
And I think that's another thing. If Dorian was just in my gym in Venice and he was like, oh man, whatever like that, he's the one that got through to me, because you can have great people that's trying to help you and try to feed a message to you. But if they don't get through to you, then it ain't going to do you no good. But if someone actually breaks through that, you respect them a great deal, then they can help you get to a whole nother level that another person wouldn't be able to do. You understand what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think a lot of these guys, let's say you work with, I know, King and I have, a lot of clients and stuff. Do you think a lot of people, you just don't feel appreciated after you do something for them? And let's say they go on and whatever they learn from you, just like, they don't give you like, hey man, like I changed your physique dramatically. I don't even get that. I feel like maybe years ago, people appreciated a lot more. They're like, man, this guy did this. You guys talk about the guys that helped you. King talks about, man, Chad this, and you talk about Robbie this, and people today is just like, yeah, it's just me, and they don't people help.
They got the follow my instincts fucking tag on their shirt. It's not an instinct. Someone's got to teach you and guide you. There's no one who wakes up with this type of mentality. It's not like that. And yeah, I do feel that, and that's probably going to be one of the main reasons why one day you're just going to, fuck it, I had enough of that. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's more so the social media thing. They got to have this certain social media. I don't know what to call it, but I think they want to act like they was just born and they know this stuff. You're 25 years old, 23 years old, but you're actually saying the exact same thing I'm saying.
Right. I know that one coach out of Florida, the cement factory guy, he made a video. It was a really emotional video. It was like a year or so ago. He went on there and was like, man, like I am just so fed up. All these guys I put my heart into, I put my everything into to get a certain way, and they none of them give a shit. No one cares like how much I put into them. And I know even myself, like around a certain time, I was coaching a lot of people, like nationals, and turning a lot of people pro. And I would go to the room, bring them something they didn't have, like, hey, as a coach, and then that person never really appreciated it. I'm like, man, I'm going out of my way for you and running my ass off, and I'm worn out, staying up till 3 and waking up at 5 for your ass in the morning. And it's just like I'm not sleeping at all. I don't, I'm not
sleep.
Yeah, the person's just like,
even if you just even if you make a post or make a, I don't know, a text message. I don't know what it'd take. to make someone feel appreciated, but I don't know, it's not much. You know,
Thank you.
you know, you see, you know, people make hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you don't get a penny of that, and not even a thank you, not even nothing. That gets a little weird inside.
Chris, because I personally have clients that, not clients, I have people who contact me that are paying thousands of dollars to coaches, but they call me up and ask me for
Yeah.
IFBB pros.
Discounts.
Oh yeah. That's not the people that really want to pay you. They think that you should be honored that they would allow you into their circle. You should
They
be.
hired
My answer to them every single time is listen to your coach. That's what I always say. Listen to your coach.
Yeah, don't have too many chefs in the kitchen at one time.
Yeah.
You know?
They'll go hire some influencer you never heard of for like drop them $5,000, and then they contact you like a few weeks out, like, hey, you know, this and this. You're like, yeah, like, well, I'm a little tight on money. Like, dude, you paid this one guy that knows nothing about bodybuilding, nothing. He has no background of what he's done with clients or anybody. You just drop all that money, but you got a top guy like Cormier helping you with A, B, and C, and you're not even what you don't even want to pay up. You don't even pay like it's really weird. And like King said, they drop all this money with other people, then they come to you and they want to deal the person that's going to get them to their best and work them the hardest. What year did you see that start changing a lot, Chris? As soon as social media came out, because that's 100%. When King and I saw it.
100%.
Well, yeah, I mean that you see the whole wave of everything, and it's like, let's talk about that. Okay, so we were at Muscle Tech. We were still getting paid per time that we were at the booth. We were leaving there. We're going. Then it started to be like a slew of new people came in. They thought it was cool to just be affiliated with a company or whatever. They just wanted a T-shirt to work at the booth, and they were fine with that. So that kind of like slowly but surely snowballed into no one's getting paid to work at a booth. Same thing with the photos. Although some people are still selling photos, a lot of people don't even bother because people just want to just take a photo with you and just be done with it. They don't want your photo. So that was another thing that started to snowball into how it is now. And then now you see another thing is the live streams are becoming free now, because it wasn't ever free before. But as you start to see now people want a free live stream. They kind of like, they don't want to pay to watch it a lot of times. So you're starting to see these different things snowball over the years. I'm sure it's going to continue on to more and more things,
Chris, you brought up actually, Armon, you brought up influencers. What is your thought on a Sam Sulek making millions of dollars? His back looks like a snake skin from all the acne. He eats Rice Krispies and a cake to carb up at night. The whole Rich Piana diet. What do you think about that? And these kids that have millions and millions of followers.
Well, I mean, I don't know about Sam as far as I don't really watch him like that. I just know I'm not going to learn something. He's trying to learn where I got, so I'm not going to really learn something for him. I just know he put a lot of work in from 16 or whatever he was to get how he got now. He needs a lot of work now. I think I would have more something to say about like the trend.
You can't even say it either.
The trend twins. I was going to ask you about that one too.
Yeah, that is the wrong message.
Hold on,
that's the wrong message.
I don't mean to cut you off, but
that's all good.
From what Armon tells me, back when I was going to expos at the Arnold and the Olympia, we had the longest lines. The IFBB pros,
King would be shocked if he.
Now it's all the influencers, and nobody gives a crap about the Phil Heaths or the Jay. What happened there?
I was on a TikTok live the other day, King, and people's asking me like all out of everything. People's like, "What did you think about this Will Tennyson guy getting in this natural program?" I'm like, "Who?" And I had to look it up on my phone, and I'm like, Will Tennyson, and it's just this natural guy. He looks like, I guess we probably did when we were like 15 or 16, you know,
Right.
naturally, like, you know, kind of not even that great of a physique. And I'm like, I just don't understand. I'm not trying to hate, but I just don't understand it. And I guess he's had a big YouTube following and all that. And I'm like, well, I mean, he's natural. He won a natural show. He's got his natural pro card, but the physique is not good at all. It's hard for certain people to understand. And then you get like, oh, well, you're just hating on the person. You're just doing this. But I see a lot of people hiring these guys, and they're hiring people their age. When we were coming up, and y'all were coming up at the top level, and then I was coming up at my level, and then I was always looking to guys or trying to hang out with bodybuilders like, twice my age to get all knowledge they had. They already experienced now the pitfalls, the mistakes, and guys now they're hiring people their age when they could go easily hire, any one of us that coaches that's been around the game for a long time, and they don't, and they go to shows. And I know King we've talked about it too. They come to you and they're like, man, I finally didn't do well for these 3 people. I want to do the old school way. I'm like, okay, what's the old school way? Like, well, they have me eating bagels and cream cheese on this and doing this on this. And I'm like,
Rice Krispie treats.
How do you expect to get in shape doing that by counting your macros? And you had this Rice Krispie treat or whatever. How do you think your body is going to look when you get up there on stage? Like, I don't understand the logic behind it. And people are like, well, there's so many ways you can get there, and you don't have to do it just chicken and rice and all. I'm like, yeah, look at the best people, the best condition. That's what they do. Nobody's eating bagels and cream cheese and sugar-free jelly a week out and all that goofy stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I think as the magazines faded out, slowly but surely, and the increasing of the cell phones, you can watch your YouTube out on your phone. It became more popular and more of a thing, and I think it became more and more increasingly populated in the gyms and everything, especially around the first of the year, more so and more so, and the industry's growing bigger and bigger and bigger, and then companies gravitated towards people who can influence other people. All these things is why that would happen. But then
what happened to teen bodybuilding? Teen bodybuilding used to be a huge thing. I know we all competed at the teenage level. Y'all were, I started at 18. I know y'all guys started, younger than that. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And it just disappeared. That's not a thing anymore. Teenage bodybuilding.
Yeah, I mean, I loved teenage bodybuilding. I was one of the ones that still made it a point to be around Gold's Gym. So when the overall teenager would win, I would be out there to be one of the guys that would, help put them through a workout, take them to the firehouse, try to mentor them. All of this is what I was a part of many years, just because I respected the game and I respected where I came from. And I loved the teenage bodybuilding, man. I was so into it when I was a teenager. And, that's when I first had people believing in me and like, man, you could be Mr. Olympia. And I was like 18 years old. I haven't even started to begin, but they were always telling me I could be Mr. Olympia. And I'm like, damn, like I was just trying to just get an understanding. I was like, okay, I'm just going to compete. Even like as a teenager, I'm doing 7 shows in 1 year when I was 18 years old, just because I wanted to get on stage and I wanted to be like, okay, this is what I need to do. I need to know what I need to do the whole time, especially going to go pro. And I wanted to go pro ever since I was 3 or 4 years old. That's what I was telling myself. I'm going to be a professional something, and I'm going to be the best in the world at something. Like that was always my goal.
Well, I think the great thing about bodybuilding. Go ahead, King.
I was going to say, Chris, right now, Dana White said something really interesting. It went viral. He said that if the younger generation now are a bunch of weak-ass pussies, they're just so woke and this and that. If you're just 5% an animal, a beast, you can take over the world. Do you think that that's basically what I mean? Because I see it all the time. That's even got to a point like I'm a giver. I always have been. And when I see people in the gym doing something wrong or I can help them out, I always like to approach them and say, hey, let me show you a better way of doing this. But I found out that they don't want to
They don't want it. They don't want it.
And I just gave up on it. The last
I'll
time
stop
I got
you. Yeah.
somebody rolled their eyes at me, I said, man, fuck you. I'm a done.
I did the same. I used to always do the same. And I'd get to the point, I remember I was in Venice and I was like watching, I was like, I just want to tell them that that's probably, you're never going to get anywhere doing what you're doing. And people are like, just leave them be, man. Leave them be, because they don't respect that. And they don't, some people you might catch maybe 30% of the people, but like you're going to get a strong 70% that think that they're just going to continue to do what they're doing anyway. So I just leave it be, man. Even the work you would do on the bench press, stuff like that. I did a lot of that coming up, but then I started to realize someone's going to tear their pec on this exercise. Someone's going to tear their pec, and I'm not even one to even teach bench press or not even squat. Not even having a bar across your back. I know a lot of people believe in it still. I'm not one to push it because I know you have vertebrae in your back that's going to somehow come down on that nerve. You have a nerve in between each one of these vertebrae, and it's somehow, some way going to cause you a lot of pain in your life. And that's something you can't reverse. The positive effects from the squat is going to be not minimal, but it's going to be temporary. But the negative effects of a squat is going to be forever.
Chris, how hard has that been? I'm talking from my own personal point of view. I go to the gym and I get onto the squat rack. I don't free squat anymore. I do it on the Smith machine. Oh, yeah. And I see kids doing 315 and then they go to 4 or 5. And I want to put on 4 or 5, like just rep it out. But the logical side with me, the 52-year-old king says, don't be stupid, Stone. Let it go. You don't need to do that anymore. Put it on 225 and do 20 reps. That's all you need to do. That's it. How hard has that been for you to watch and say, damn, I'm Chris Cormier. I used to do 405 for reps.
Every time I step into the gym. I mean, every time I get a workout, it just sucks because you're used to going like super fast and you're damn going around the track and fucking and now you're fucking putting along in your fucking go-kart. Just like fucking it's like, oh man, it sucks.
So you feel that too. I get it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Pressing, and then you get, because I never really hurt myself in the gym like that, but I did. I was riding a bike when I did a comeback, and I tore my tricep, so it just zapped all of my power, man.
Yeah,
it zapped all of my power, and it's like I don't, because otherwise I think I'd still be pretty doggone strong.
Chris, after all the heavy ass training, all the crazy Kamali 6,000 pound stuff that I did, I never got injured in the gym. Taking the trash out one night, walking down the deck for my medial quad, and ever since then, my left leg is just 70%. It will not, no matter what I do, I cannot get that extra 30%. It's just not there. Nothing is firing there, man. It's crazy.
It sucks when you tear something. It sucks when you tear something.
What about you get a little deep tissue massage on it? You're like, it's just it's never gonna fire off.
That deep tissue massage the fuck out of here. It ain't gonna do shit.
Yeah, man. I remember. We had the East Coast West Coast rivalry going on, and it was cool, man. I actually enjoyed it because I feel like we were somehow, I don't know, we were just like
first call out Ironman Pro 2001.
Okay, but listen, look.
I bumped
wait. Let me give you the story.
And he pushed me away. He goes, the fuck out of here.
Let me set you up with the story, though.
There you go, Chris. How come you elbowed King at the stage of the 2001 Ironman? What's up with that?
He had it coming. That's why. That's what
I did. I had it
coming. No, but I was just talking about this with someone because it's a hilarious story because I think it's funnier because we became such good friends afterwards. But it was hella funny. So it made it even funnier, right? So we can laugh at it. So we were like on opposite sides of the country. I just watched him turn pro. The moment this guy gets a microphone in his face or do an interview, he's talking all this shit about he's coming for he wants everyone's head. He's coming for everybody. As a rookie, and we was like, bro, we still had that like mentality, like this guy's a fucking rookie, and he's talking this shit. Okay. So then to make matters worse, I'm in Redondo Beach area, around the area where the Ironman competition was at the time, and I went into this bank. I'm cashing my check.
Oh, I know this story.
This girl, and the girl she looks at my name. She goes, "Are you?" Because it said Broderick on it, but she said, "Are you Chris Cormier?" And I said, "Yeah." Why? She said, "My cousin's gonna beat you." I was like, "Yeah, at the bank." I'm like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "Who's your cousin?" She said, "King Kamali." I said, oh. I was like, "You tell your cousin that. Tell him I'm gonna be here waiting for his ass. You know, all this stuff, right?" So,
shout out to Yasi. Yasi, I love you. I love you, Yasi. That's her name.
So then
Chris, are you happy you didn't have social media back then? Like I think it was awesome that everybody got to experience that time.
I think we were writing the fans back and forth with a letter. That's how we were communicating. But let me finish the story. Is that so then when he came out there, there's actually a video that I have, and it shows you come into the room. My son is there pumping up. My son is in the room. You saw my son back there because you was talking to Tony Freeman.
Tony Freeman, yeah.
Tony Freeman would come to my house, and he would stay with me the last couple of days before the show, and he was holding my son right there. So when that happened, I saw you in the corner of my eye come into the room, but I'm pumping up. I'm like, I'm ready to go and kill people. I'm like, I'm a returning champion, and he was like coming into the room and saying, "What's up?" to this guy that's holding my son. And then I just acted like I didn't see you at all. I'm just like, and then the look on your face was like, well, I guess he's not gonna say what's up. So did you see that video?
Yeah, I have seen that video.
You said what's up to him, and I pump it up, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, but you know what? I was asking for it too because I walked in there with my black shades on, and I had I had the Kai Green special, 6 zipped up sweatshirts, trying to look all puffed up back there. And yeah, I mean, listen, but all of that being said, we had fun. The audience was throwing fucking gang signs, and there was Crips in the audience. My family on this side with the air horn. We made it fun, and you know what? The judges loved it too. They loved it, even though they said, whatever. No, they loved it. They loved the fact that we were getting the reactions that we were getting.
Oh yeah. So then we were on stage. I got the first call out. I'm in the middle. We're doing quarter turns, and then King is so close to me. And I'm trying to come around, and he's like, so we started to like nudge each other, and I'm like, and then I was like, I got to the bow, just fed up. I was like, get the fuck over.
Yeah, you said the fuck off me. That's what you said. Get the fuck off me.
You guys.
I forgot what I said to him. I was so shocked because I had all Chris's pictures in my lockers, and so I was like, should I say, Mr. Cormier, I'm sorry? I don't even know what to say. So I'm like, yo, calm down, man. We're having fun.
So then that went on, and then I ended up winning the show. Did you take second or third?
No, I got third.
You got third behind Melvin.
Yeah.
So then we go to the next show. The next show, the
2 weeks later, Arnold Classic.
Arnold Classic. So we going up there to compete. We go through the whole thing. We got to go there on the bus. He's standing there, and that's I think was Craig in that show too.
Yeah.
So that was your buddy at the time too. So then we was all the West Coast guys, and then the East Coast guys had their thing, and we were just like separate basically. And so then when we got on stage, we got to the pose down. You were in the pose down. Did you take a fourth, or what did you take?
Yeah, I got fourth.
Fourth place. So me and Ronnie is like, we're battling for the top spot. I know Ronnie's at his best look he ever had. So King decided to come in the middle between me and Ronnie and go like this.
I remember that picture.
And then we went, fuck out
Both of them, both silverback gorillas, took their elbows and threw me back 3 feet.
That would have been like the WrestleMania fucking style Arnold Classic that time. But yeah, and it kind of ended with that, but that would never go these days, would it? That wouldn't go over too well.
No, Weinberger will be yelling and screaming.
Why do you think these guys today, they don't, they have social media now. Why do you think they try to be like, they don't say what's on their minds. They want to be friendly with everybody, which is fine. Yeah, be friendly, but the competitiveness, I'm gonna beat your ass. This, like, what happened to that? Because there's nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, you're a competitor, being confident. Like, what happened to that fun people that had personalities like King and Chris? Everybody had their own personality, and everybody today is just kind of like, oh, we're cool, we're friends. I'm like, nobody speaks what's on their mind.
I did like that before. Even if it was Flex, me and Flex had our differences, even though we were training partners most of the time or in each other's corners, we still, even if we weren't even discussing or talking throughout the prep, we would still find each other and give each other a dap before we go on stage and be like, hey man, I'm gonna try to beat your ass, but if I don't win, I hope you get it. Something like that. So we always had that camaraderie, and when it came down to the East Coast guys, which I feel like we were the better bodybuilders on the West Coast, but you guys took the most shit. That's what we thought.
We had no publicity, man. What are we supposed to do? That was the problem.
All the photographers was in the West Coast in Ghost Gym waiting for us to do a lift or whatever, and these guys would like show up sometimes in the magazine, which was great for us.
Armon, the problem was, imagine if you're a surfer, okay, and Cormier is in Hawaii surfing the Bonsai Pipeline, and I'm in Ocean City surfing the Ocean City surf. Nobody's going to give a shit. So when I contacted Flex Magazine, I'm like, what am I supposed to do? They said, well, start some controversy. I'm like, all right, that's how it all got started. I'm like, all right, man, the East Coast is tougher. We got tougher skin. We train harder. We're better. And then, of course, but Chris was already a mega star. It's the younger, Craig and Melvin are the ones who didn't like it. They got under their skin, especially Craig. It really got under his skin.
And Melvin.
Yeah, Melvin. Yeah, but Melvin was.
He was like the little brother. His
personality was the best. I loved
him. Yeah. But he was like the little brother that didn't have a fast engine, but he was trying. He's still trying to race.
Chris, what happened with Rubio? Everybody saw this potential in Rubio, and what happened with Rubio? Because I know you're working with him too.
Yeah. So I was helping, and I always help him as much as I can if I'm around him. I don't live in Europe. He's never been to America. People don't understand, like, what does it take to help someone? It takes you to leave your comfortable home, right, your family. I actually have a family. Everyone has a family. So they've always taken a back seat to my career. So when I first got the call, hey, can you come out to Holland and train with Rubio, help, because he don't know how to pose. He did some shows, but his posing has always been, not good for him to. It hasn't been good. And we did some training. He was doing a diet already with someone else. So we were just all helping him out there in Holland, So with that being said, we went to do the show in Prague. And when the show in Prague happened, he was an amateur still. He had to get his pro card. So we did. He won overall in Prague, and he had the capability of competing the very next day against the pros. And that's when you had Samson, you had Krizo, you had Nathan Diasher. They were all in the show. Some other German competitors that they all won shows. This guy has only done a handful of shows. He only started training with weights around COVID, like training with weights around COVID. So this guy was a farmer, carrying food miles on end to get to the towns where they could sell their food to the other Colombian people in that town. He didn't come from a city. He didn't come from a place where we all grew up around weights. We all grew up around gyms. He didn't grow up around gyms. There's not a gym in his hometown. It's not a gym.
So,
Wow.
so do you think a lot of the guys, like, I know I grew up and you guys grew up too. You loved bodybuilding, like, oh my gosh, I love this shit. I love everything about it. A lot of people are getting pushed into competing today, and they do a couple shows and they're up at a top level just because genetically they're really good and they just blow up really quick. A lot of those guys, do you think they're just lacking the mindset just because they don't love bodybuilding? They don't love getting on stage. They don't love competing. They don't like the process. They're just like, okay, I'm good at this, and my genetics kind of got me here in training, and they're lacking the mentality though, just to be in love with bodybuilding.
Well, as far as that, I mean, that's a whole nother crop of people. Like you say, when I grew up, I was flexing my hamstring. I was doing a lat spread. I always had a good connection and control of my body from a young age. So when I started to train, I'm just developing more and more and more my mindset, my mind connection, everything. My high school teacher thought I should try bodybuilding. When I went up to her desk, she was like, "Man, you have a great body. You should try bodybuilding." I'm like, "You think so?" She's like, "Yeah." So that's what sparked me to want to compete. So that was just something that I just did like that. But I was going to say about Rubio, I was going to finish is he's got to go through the paces of understanding the mindset, what it takes, what it takes during a cardio, what it feels like to be under duress, low blood sugar, low, carbs are low, everything's hard. This is the normal day for a bodybuilder at a high level. So I just think it's going to take a lot more of that. And I still believe in him for sure. I just, when you see a guy like that, I just saw, I mean, he's got, have the craziest attributes of you're not going to have a Dorian Yates back or something like that. But he got very powerful shots that can beat a lot of people. That side chest, side tricep, stuff like that. 3/4 back shot is strong. Most muscular is strong. Just it's going to take a little bit, but I think people are trying to get a Ronnie Coleman, a finished Ronnie Coleman, not like an early Ronnie Coleman, in 1 year, and he should be off to the running, but it off to the races. But it takes more than that. It takes more, fortitude, more. I mean, attacking the weights, more tenacity there, more suffering, and being okay with the suffering. All the things gonna attribute to him being the bodybuilder he can be, and I still believe in him.
Armon, let's talk about the Pittsburgh Pro, man.
Yeah, I was ask Chris this real quick. Chris, when you stepped away from competing, you hear a lot of guys today like, "Oh yeah, my time was done. I'm good with it." A lot of people say that, and they aren't. A lot of people have their career cut, short by injuries, or their body's just not responding as well. When you walked away, I'm not sure what age you retired, but why did you retire? And then how did you deal with it mentally, not being that, that was your life? Because when y'all are at that level, that's your life. That's who your identity, that's who you're known as. And then when you step away, as soon as you stop competing, it's kind of like you're not as relevant anymore these days. Someone pops up, they stop competing, they're not relevant anymore. Of course, you guys stayed because y'all are legends and all that. But how did you feel about all that when you stopped competing?
Well, when you finally, understand that you're not going to go on stage no more. You're not going to hear those cheers no more. You're not going to, you had a dynamic posing routine, King. So you understand that you can move a certain way and people just lose their damn mind. Like, you know, it's a big rush, and to not be able to feel that it was hard. It was a big depression time. I had to come from here to there, but quickly, uh, you know, most of it got snatched away when I got hurt in 2006 or so, or seven or whatever. So yeah, it's a big mind fuck for a lot of us, and then you just wondering, you know, where I'm gonna go. Am I gonna stay involved in the sport in whatever type of way I can, or I'm gonna step away and just not have anything to do with it. A lot of people did that. I never really stepped away. I just tried to reinvent myself. Um, how can I help some of the next guys coming up? How can I help them not do uh, the mistakes that I've seen coming up? That's why when you get a young coach or young life coach when they're 21 and they haven't really been through life yet or been through a lot of issues when it comes to competition or issues when it comes, because it's not going to be smooth sailing all the time. You're going to have to be putting out fires when you helping someone get ready for a competition or helping them in general. It's going to have issues, and you need to know how to how to improve those areas, or how to help a person that having some type of issue, whatever it is, health wise or in the gym wise, or a sticky point in their development, anything like that. You need to have experience at that, and you can't get experience by being so young.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have a young coach. Then usually I would see like a older person in their 40s, and they got their coaches in the 20s. Like, how in the hell is that? How did they know what it what it feels like to be in the 40s? How
Right.
did they know what's going to happen with their nitrogen balance is
Yeah,
down?
we had
Yeah, you
we
don't
had
know that at that age.
we had Vinny Galante over on the other day. He's doing the Masters Olympia, and uh, after he came on, he was texting me about all these different questions and advice about prepping. I said, "Well, don't you have a coach?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Who's your coach?" And I looked him up, and I didn't know who he was. I don't know how old he was, but probably on the younger side. And I said, "Well, you want me to help you out with all this stuff that's pretty much like coaching you? You're far away from it." I'm like, bro, I was like, bro, that's basically. He's like, well, he's not doing my cycle or anything like that. I'm like, well, this is your coach. Like, I'm like, do you want to hire me? And because you're a long way out, and I can help you do this. And he's like, no, I'm pretty happy with what. I'm like, what do you mean you're happy with what he's doing? Because you're asking me a whole another side that's very important for competing that he's not given to you. So it's like, and then when someone's doing a show and they're like, man, I've just got a lot of stuff going on. And you're like, what do you have going on? Like, oh, I broke up with my girlfriend. I was like, dude, I don't want to hear that shit. Like, man, I got
Yeah.
my house raided 2 weeks out. I'm dealing with deaths and this and this. Life's never going to be smooth. And everybody wants to pick a show a lot of times, like when their life is not smooth. Things are always going to be happening. Everybody has their struggles. Everybody has their shit. They just don't talk about it all the time. Like, oh, I can't do it because of this. And I've got some everybody has personal issues. It's called life. And I think that's a big excuse people use today. Oh, I can't do the show. I'm pulling out, or it's become too
Personal
common.
issues, personal reasons. Yeah, I mean that's part of the whole thing. I mean, I know I can count so many shows would make your head spin if you knew everything was going on that show. You'd be like, both of your heads will spin. Like, how did you make it? I always thought when I finished the show, I said, man, they should give me first place for just entering this motherfucker.
Well, Chris, everybody used to always say, is Chris calm and is his life normal? Yeah, well, he's not going to do good. If Chris would had drama in his life, a girlfriend, 5 girlfriends at the door yelling, screaming, he's going to win the show. 100% Chris is winning the show. That was Chris's reputation. He had to have drama in his life.
Well, it happened one time, like 1990. I remember the first muscle contest show, but it wasn't my fault. I was like, I won the show. I had a current girl that I was dating, but I had moved away from Palm Springs. But then I had some girls, some ex-girlfriends or friendly girls I I'll say
He
friends.
always had girls.
Associates. And they were interviewing me because like I said, I've done it all for all my younger years, from football, wrestling, track. I've always been in Palm Springs. So this was Mr. Palm Springs. I won the Teenage Palm Springs. This is the overall, my first time in the heavyweight class in the men's division, going for the overall Mr. Palm Springs. I won that. So I got my sword. I got the local television interviewing me, and I see all 5 girls are standing right behind the camera. I was like doing my interview, like, and then I just gestured to the one girl. His name was Denise, and I said, "Hey," I said, "Go around, get the Jeep and pull it around back." And the car running.
Armon, I got a great Cormier story. It's not. Don't worry, Chris. It's not. What you think. I would never say. Hey, let
me finish though. And I just, soon as I said, they said, it was, cut with the camera. I just took off running, and then y'all running after. Jumped in the Jeep, wheels go. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I would never say anything the crazy stuff. I wouldn't do that. But a great Cormier story is Chris had a reputation between rounds during prejudging or even the finals. He was backstage on his phone, so everybody thought that Chris was like not taking it serious. Why are you texting people? You're about to go back on stage. This is a pro show. So I approached him. I said, Chris, why are you always on your phone? And he goes, man, and he got all upset. He goes, I'm asking people in the audience how I look.
Yeah.
My bad. We all had it wrong. Everyone thought Chris was texting girls. He was texting his dinner. Where we going to go party tonight? No, he's like, you morons. I'm asking people in the audience how I look.
Yeah, Manny was always busting my balls about that. He's still to this day. He's always saying, oh, hey, babe. Oh, excuse me. Oh, so, he's always acting like I'm talking to a girl or whatever. But a lot of times it'll be I talk to Chad or I talk to someone that I trusted in the audience to be like, okay, who looks good? Who I need to worry about? Who I need to try to, whatever. What shot can I beat this guy in or make him look like
we all had it wrong, Chris. We all had it wrong.
Yeah. I was just ahead of my time, man.
All right, let's get into this.
This is actually a really good question.
Okay,
Hey,
we'll get this.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Chris. We'll answer a couple questions, then we'll get into the Pittsburgh Pro. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we all know that I was a shy competitor and a shy person growing up. So my first show, I actually chickened out and didn't do the show because I was just too shy to go up there. I felt crazy naked and all this stuff. Then when I did compete, I had my shorts said Speedo on the side, on the right side. I had the biggest shorts out of anybody in the whole show, and I was embarrassed about that too. I'm trying to roll up my trunks on the side, trying to make them look smaller, right? So that's the same guy. So fast forward, turning pro. I didn't really want to turn pro because I'm like, people are going to ask me to do interviews and stuff, and I'm like really not comfortable with doing a seminar or something like that. I was like a guy that was in school that never would go up to talk in front of the class. It was just like, that's just way out of my comfort zone. I don't like it. I didn't want to be last, but I didn't want to be first. So I'd be second to the last throughout all my school years, right? So then I was always doing slow music because I didn't want to do something crazy fast. I didn't want to dance or anything like that because that's embarrassing to me. So my whole career I was doing, I don't know if you ever noticed that, but I did a lot of classic posing because I didn't want to go, out there. So, and I think this is another thing that people start to think like, oh, he likes to go to clubs. But 99, I actually did a tour in England. I was like 13 weeks out. Dorian saw me and he said, I don't think you're gonna make it, bro. Like, it's no way this guy's gonna make the competition and be in great shape. And so after that, I was in Greece. I was on vacation in Greece. It was like around that same time, around 13 weeks out, 12 weeks out. But then I went home and then I started buckling down. But I trained 5 days in a row, and then I fly to Vegas to dance, right? And go to clubs. I was at Club Raw, and I ended up having an after party there after the
To strip or dance? To strip or dance?
dance.
Oh.
That's a strip. That was after that's after I took third. Then I went to the strip club. But up until 5 weeks out, I did fly to Vegas, and just to go up on a stage and then control the crowd, the owner of the club was giving me a free hotel room, and because he knew I was going to go and perform at the club that night. So I did this up until 5 weeks out because I wanted to get so comfortable with being in front of the crowd that was going to put me over the top in my routine. And if you remember my 99 routine, I just fucking let loose. I was like, I'm going to go for that third place spot. And we're at the competition when we got the road to the Olympia tape. I actually was 6th was my best place in Olympia up until that time. But I said, I've been 6th 3 times in Olympia. This time I'm going to 3rd place. And I said, I'm telling you, no doubt about it, I'm going no less than 3rd place. I said, when I say top 3, I mean top 3. So I was going to do everything possible to be like, take that next step physically, mentally, everything. It's one of my best looks, but it's also one of my best routines.
Yeah.
Was 99 Olympia. And that was, if you could look at that Olympia routine, you could tell it was all, I was super comfortable. I was like, I'm going to Vegas. I'm going to do something I've never done on the stage before. And that's where I made my mark in that show. So it wasn't going to a club. That was not a detriment to my ability to win the Olympia, because I should have been at least 2nd, I thought, in that show. I for sure thought I'd beat Flex, and it was like I challenged a few shots with Ronnie. Lat spread and everything was looking great with Ronnie, but I was clearly top 2 in the world. And I stopped at 5 weeks out from going out because I was like, okay, I'm where I want to be. And then I was just cruise right in.
Crazy.
Chris, can you share the story when you were in the sauna with Paul Dillette and Aaron Baker and the naked couple was in there?
Who is this guy?
Joey Joe, whoever Joey Joe is.
Joey Joe. I don't know. Okay, so we were. It was Vince Taylor. It was Paul. It was Aaron, and we just get to Russia, and we just going around. We're on a European tour, so we're going around from place to place. We came in on a plane, got off the plane. We got right into some Mercedes, whizzed us on into this little room. They did our documentation there, police escort to the hotel. They have food and everything, caviar for us to eat, and all you're talking about Russia when it was like not cool to be in Russia. To have a hamburger on the street, you probably get murked for it. It's just like, but we was walking around the hotel and he's like, oh, it's a sauna right here. And we walked by and we noticed it was like a naked lady. And I was like, whoa. We looked at each other like, let's go in the sauna. We all got our clothes on. We just go walk into the sauna. And then this lady's like, in Europe, nudity is not a big deal to them. And so she's standing, she's sitting there, she's fully naked. The other guy, he had a towel on. The other guy was naked, and his testicles was just hanging off the chair, off the bench, and we were just like, and so we just looked at each other, kind of like snickered. And we walked out, and we gonna just checking out the hotel. But then when we were at dinner, which not dinner, we had a show coming up, so we're like, we can't really eat this. So people are like saying, okay, maybe we'll order some fruit. Give us some bananas. Like Paul's like, give us some bananas, right? So they didn't really understand English. So next thing you know, uh, Paul said, "Hey, get these bananas." Like, like Aaron Baker, like, bananas. And he started peeling the banana in his head, banana. So the girl caught it, right? And then, Vince is to my left, Paul's here, and then Aaron's there, and then we was like, "Man, did you see that in the sauna? You see what's going on in the sauna?" And then Aaron goes, "I know, he was just hanging there, like he was like this." I'm like, like he was cupping his balls in his hand. He was just hanging there. I was like, oh, we just start kicking each other on the table, like, oh my God. That's the only thing you notice is
was a little iffy.
Nah.
Yeah,
Chris,
it was funny.
how do you feel about the sport not having a Joe Weider around? There's no one guiding the sport and mentoring athletes. Without Joe, does the sport have a singular direction?
I mean, I know Tyler is trying to do more than what was done back in the past. I appreciate them giving the feedback after the shows and everything. But, Joe is just somebody we can all go there. Everyone was going to that building, the Weider headquarters, and you felt some kind of way just entering that building. You felt some kind of way having a meeting with Joe, and you felt like, he'd give you some of the best advice he could, whether it was in life or posing or bodybuilding or whatever it was. It was his thing. He's the original Godfather. He taught me a lot when it comes to understanding the human body and the physique that you try to have. I remember he asked me when I first met him, like, you have any legs like that? And I was like, yeah, I got legs. And that was my thing, the legs. So, I pulled my pants down, flexed my legs, said, you see everybody. I hit the shot right there. He was like, "We're gonna sign you to a contract." I said, "Don't shoot with anybody. Don't shoot with anybody." And I'm gonna sign you. I was like, all right. So I left there in tears, man, just fucking, oh, I made it. So I had a lot of fond memories going up to the headquarters, even
Woodland Hills, man. Woodland Hills.
Oh yeah, doing the interview with a guy. I'm gonna go up there a couple of times a week. Just talk to Peter McGuff and all the guys. Rest in peace, Pete.
Yeah.
Silver Fox, Peter McGuff. It's just great, man. It was great.
Yeah, good time. It was a great time in bodybuilding.
Yeah. I'm coming up with a nice little website and also an app where I want to teach more on a greater scale. I don't really talk a lot about what I do in camp as far as improving physiques and stuff like that, but I'm going to start opening up more with that, and that's my plan to do that. Right now, just get a hold of me on Instagram.
Yeah, easy. All right, the Pittsburgh Pro. So we got Nick Walker, Martin Fitzwater, Michael Crizzo, William Bonac, James Hollingshead, Good Vito, which dropped out, correct?
Yeah. So his lat is torn. I don't know if that's from the training, but that's from whatever he's doing. It's not conducive to you being a good bodybuilder. So this shouldn't be happening in 1 week out or 2 weeks out from the show. For sure. It never happened when I was doing it, and I'm just seeing more and more situations like this as when Nick had the issue with his hamstring. A lot of guys having some issues with different muscle groups right before the show, and it's just like you just got to rethink about what you're doing to prepare. That's the best way I could put it.
King and I watch videos of Hadi and Derek lifting some, mainly Hani lifting some weights that there's no point of doing it. Like 2 weeks out from a show, you're just like, what is he doing? It's like, I don't think if you've never been injured and understand like that, how that injury can literally ruin your career, end your career, or just put you behind. Like he's whatever 2 weeks out when he had this tear, he showed it, lifted his arm up, it's all bruised or whatever. Like what are you doing to do that to your body so close to a show his pictures were looking nuts. We don't know how that was going to translate on stage.
But his legs were smaller that year. Even with all that crap that he did, Hottie had his legs were downsized. So that just answers your question right there. What sense does that make?
No, it doesn't make any sense. And
it don't make any sense. Don't make no sense at all. And you can only hurt. The only thing you can do from that is hurt yourself. It's not going to help you at all. It's going to be all bad. All bad.
Okay, so Vito said on his YouTube he had a bad shot that got inflamed. Then training back, he had a tear in the same area. Yeah, I mean, I get it.
Case in point.
Yeah.
Case in point. That's what we keep trying to tell people. Is not going to be conducive to you being a competitive bodybuilder for a long time. You're going to shorten your career.
Yes.
And, if that goes away, what are you going to be when you hit that front lat spread and you got that?
Can you imagine having to inject your lats? I mean, I can't. To me, that's incomprehensible. I don't get it.
But I knew that it was something like that before. You don't have to tell me. I know what can happen. And like I said before, it was a lot of guys I would see on stage. They're going to shows that their shape is changing. You got more muscle on the bottom half this week. The next week you got muscle on the top half of your quad. All of that shit. I mean, you're pinning the area, hoping that that's going to increase your
inflammation. Yeah,
instead of just understanding how to train the body. But we all knew that was his weakest area in his body was his back and chest. You ask me if that's going to fill out, but it takes time. The dude is so young. What the hell are you trying to rush it for? You're already one of the best in the world. You already made it to Olympia. Why are you trying to rush it like that to where it's going to be a detriment to your career?
Yeah, people don't understand. Like you're close to a show, your body's already drying out. You put in whatever you put. I'm assuming he probably put 3 mLs in there, which gets it tight. Probably not stretching. Get a massage, goes in there, does a workout, stretches it out, and just pop.
And how do you get the performance after you got a big substance of whatever? How many?
Right. Yeah, I think that hinders the workout, especially when you're.
How can it perform? How can those fibers perform when you have a big lump of something in it like that? How does it perform?
So
and I think
let's talk about the big top 3 then. You got Nick, you got Martin, you got Derek. What you got, Chris?
And they said James Hollinghead dropped out too for whatever reason.
For sure. Yeah. But you got Derek, who's everyone's looking at winning. I'm just really curious how he's going to look. It was a long enough time to where it can go good or bad for you, depending on how you prepare for the show.
Well, Aceto said he's going to shock everybody. So that's what Chris said.
But it says that every time, King, though, about everybody.
Yeah, I'm just saying what he said.
And then Nick is, is very confident that he's going to actually pull it off. It wouldn't be like a total shocker if Nick did. So he did win the Arnold Classic. If we didn't, he's a 2-time Night of Champions winner. A lot of people said he wasn't going to be able to do what he did from his standpoint of his weaknesses and his physique. But, he's one you can't really measure because you see how he performs. Even you, King, like you look better than what you actually were because of the way you would perform.
Right.
That's what I thought. And I think he has that same type of thing going for him.
Well, for me, Nick Walker, when he's just standing there, you can pick him apart. He's blocky. Yeah. He's got short legs. He's a bit strange. He hits a pose, you're like, okay, he just came to life.
Yeah. When he puts that tan on, because he's always so pale. When he puts that tan on and comes out there and he's so much, I mean, he can easily win if these other guys are off. I saw Martin guest posing. Let's be real. It's a guest posing. He was traveling. I wasn't too impressed. I love Martin's physique, but I wasn't too impressed how he looked. I believe it was like maybe 3 weeks out or 2 weeks out. I don't know. Did you guys see that guest posing?
Yeah, a lot of people were, and I actually received a text message from him telling me that Nick is not beating him. And that he's going to shock everybody. His legs are going to be vastly improved from the last time. He thinks he improved. I'm a little worried because he said he was 10, 12 pounds heavier. And I know to say that, it's like, I mean, gaining weight, 3 to 5 pounds is great. I always just
12
thought,
is a lot from last show.
yeah,
12 is that's a
I
lot of
just
weight.
always thought to myself, if he looked the way he did at the Olympia, you can't do that all the time. You can't. I knew that he was going to go to Prague and not look like he did at the Olympia, because he hit it right on the head at the Olympia. So it's only to go down from there. You can't just do that again. So
Well, and the mentalities too. He's like, okay, Nick is big and huge. You can't play Nick's game. You're not a big, massive freak like Nick. You got that pretty waist. You got the pretty lines, the really nice quads. His quads look amazing. The sweep, everything out of shape. Nick doesn't have that. You got to play to your strengths. Don't try to come in 10 pounds heavier and you're a little watery and you get beat by, you could get beat by.
Yeah, that scale game, Armon, that seems to be a really, I mean,
I don't know why they still do that. I don't know why
I think
they
Chris
still
will
say
attest to
that.
this too. When you look at Jay and how wide he was and how thick he was, the best Jay ever, he'll even admit this, was 256. He said it 100 times. My best look was when I was at 256 pounds. You look at Jay and you're like, no, he had to be 280 on stage. No, he wasn't. He was 256. He admits it. People are obsessed with this weight thing. I have 12 pounds more from last year. Okay. Well, you're going to be watery. I'm telling you that right now.
right.
Even at a beginner level, I know I get all the time, King. I know you get it too. Chris probably get it too. Hey, man, you think next show we can be 15 pounds heavy? I go, 15 pounds of muscle in like 6 months? No. What do you mean? You can be 15 pounds heavier and out of shape, but people, they're so obsessed with the weight. Oh, I just want to be, 240 on stage. I just want to be 230. I'm like, why? It goes, you can look, you could be 210 and look 260 on stage. It doesn't matter your weight. It doesn't matter.
We all played that a little bit, but then when we start to figure out that that's not helping you, I wanted to be in the 50s because Lee Haney, my favorite bodybuilder of all time, was in the 50s.
Yeah,
and I want to be like Lee Haney. I want to be in the 50s. And then, when it came to the Arnold, I was talking to Dorian. He was like, Chris, come in 245. 245, you're going to be tighter. You're going to look just as big. You're not going to look smaller. And then you're going to probably place better in what would be your best look. And then I started to do that. And then that's where it was a great look for me. And that proved to me it was not about how much you weigh exactly on the scale. You want to be in a certain area, but you don't want to be too low, like into the low 30s. But in the mid 40s was great for me.
Yeah.
Greg Kovacs, that's the funny one. I was like, damn. Yeah, I got some videos I'm going to release got from the Night of Champions. I got Greg Kovacs in the video backstage. We're all pumping up at the Night of Champions there at the Beacon Theater. So look for that in the future. I'm going to be releasing some of these old videotapes. I had a camera back then in the 90s. Before people had a cell phone, I actually was having a camcorder. And I actually had it backstage. Some place I probably shouldn't have had it backstage. I got away with it. But anyway, so Greg, I didn't work out with Greg, but we had like a little bit of a feud because he was saying he's the strongest bodybuilder. I was saying I was the pound for pound strongest bodybuilder. Yeah. He came to do a photo shoot at Gold's, and he was moving the 200-pound dumbbells, and then he was bringing it across the gym. And his wife stopped him because he stopped and was taking a break, puffing and puffing to bring the dumbbell across the room. His wife comes across the room, and then she got gloves on and overalls on. I can still picture it right now. And she's bringing the 200-pound dumbbell over for the photo shoot. And then they asked me to go and spot Greg because he wanted to bring the dumbbells up and then do a negative to look like he was pressing them above his head. And I was like, bullshit. I'm not going to hurt myself trying to help you look stronger. Like, I mean, they were heavy as hell. I was doing them on the incline press, but not above my head. And he was like, he couldn't do it because he couldn't find people to pick the weights up over above his head. So no, I never trained with Greg.
Chris, real quick, just tell everybody that with Chris Lund, no fake weights. He made you suffer.
Yeah, and I have a bunch of those videos of me training with. We're working out, doing photo shoots with Chris Lund. And no, that was a little bit of a pride thing, but we was not really into the fake weights and stuff.
Until when Fuchs got his quads ripped off his bone, that's when he changed his tune. I remember Peter. That's when he started to have more people use fake the weights. But before that, no.
Yeah, but that was the beginning of the end.
Yeah,
I think that hurt him.
I think so too.
Seeing that, and I think he was never really the same after that. And then with what's the black guy from the East Coast? He's in the
Orville.
More Orville when he tore his tricep,
yeah.
That coma and all that stuff from that.
I was there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that was in
Dennis. It was me. It was Orville and Dennis were doing the shoot. I was next, and I'm doing. I was on the treadmill. There was this woman next to me. All I heard from across the gym. Imagine taking a bat and snapping it. That's what I heard. And I looked at her, and she stopped, and I'm like, "What was that?" And she goes, "I think your friend's hurt." So I jumped around and went around the corner, and I saw his elbow hanging like this. And he was just, and Dennis was walking around like in shock, and then Lund was in shock, and I just went, and Orville kept looking at me and saying, "King Kamali, call my wife. King Kamali, call my wife." That was it.
She took him to Sweden. He lives in Sweden now, at some small town. But I mean, that'd be nice to hear from him one day. But I'm sure probably never.
Yeah, that was a horrible sight because it dropped on his head, and his head was squirting blood.
Shit.
Yeah.
What do you guys, Chris? Me and Keegan, we talk about a lot. These guys dropping out of these shows. It seems to be a lot of the same guys on a constant basis. What's going on? Like with James, what's his deal? He's dropped out of a lot of shows, hasn't he? I'm not sure. I'm not really sure, but it seems like they're doing a show, they drop out. Are they just not prepping, giving them enough time to prep? Are they slacking on it? We talked about it when Milos was on because James said, yeah, Milos was my coach, but I wasn't listening. I was doing my own thing. And it's like a lot of guys do that these days. I'm like, what's the point of hiring somebody? It's like
Regan. To Regan?
No, James Hollinghead.
Oh, but I thought you said
Regan too. I mean, he's dropping out of shows too. I know he just had a kid and all that, but
I have my theory. I want to hear what Chris has to say. Chris, what do you think?
You had a kid. I had a kid getting ready for the death. I mean, you know what? Tell you when I heard I was having a kid, I was walking out the door, 1998, to compete at the Olympia in New York City, and the phone rang, and I'm just about to walk out the door. I turn back. Oh, I go. I'll get this call. I picked it up, and I found out I'm about to have a son. I'm gonna have a baby, and I was like, "Wait a minute, I gotta call you back later." You gotta, you just gotta, put that away and go do what you gotta do. So, I mean that, and like you said, I had my son backstage with me. Even in that show, I saw him starting to get fussy in he was in the orchestra pit. I went off the stage. I went back to my bag, to his baby bag, got his bottle out, ran back, gave it to one of the expediters, and he handed it. I said, "Hey, hand my son his bottle," and then they passed it down to my man that was holding my son, and gave it to him. And I was like, then I went back and got on the stage. So I understand about being a father. I understand about that's not it's not a reason to not do a show, but you have someone to take care of the kid, So the thing is though, I think, I don't know. I just when I heard that Regan wasn't doing this show and possibly not even the next show, possibly not even New York, it's like,
well, his pictures were way behind. I saw that back shot, and that looked like he was.
But if
really
somehow you got to take accountability for yourself. Like if I know we got a show coming up, and Chad or Chris or I had a couple of different coaches. I had a panel for Ghoulies help me a couple of years. If I knew I had a show coming up and I know the date, that's partly on me too. It's not like a part to be like, oh, my coach said I shouldn't do this much cardio, and it and turns out we couldn't land the plane because it wasn't the right look. But you know the damn date also. So whatever you got to do, like I didn't really like someone telling me how much I need to do. I know how much I need to do to get in shape, and I know judging from the mirror if I'm in shape or not. So part of it's on the bodybuilder also. It's not just the coach's fault.
Here's my theory. No contracts. The Muscle Tech contract, Chris explained to him how thick it was. This thick. This thick was the contract. You got to do this. You can't take pictures with other companies behind you. You can't be walking by the expo and have someone take a picture with you, a fan take a picture with you, and another company's logo in the background. You get fined for that. You had to be on your toes, man. And to not compete, you better be dying. You better be dying because it was our livelihood. When your livelihood's on the block, on the chopping block, you're gonna compete.
Yeah, because
you're not dropping out.
No, you're not dropping out. That's not it. That's not a thing. But also, do you feel like some guys don't want to lose to some guys?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I think going into a show, they're going into a show. They think like, okay, I'm going to be this guy here, and then a couple other guys jump in and they get scared. I think that happens.
Like, do you feel like, say, if it's like they're thinking more like ratio to wins to losses? It's like, bro, it don't matter. No one gives a fuck. They win. If you win, great. If you lose, it just goes under. It's just a part of the history of the competition. You go from the European shows. I'm placing whatever at the 97 Olympia. Then I'm beating people that was in the top 3 at the Olympia. Then I'm getting beaten. Then I'm beat. It's like it's just bodybuilding. You got to learn, and you got to understand when you're on stage. You're learning. You're gonna get better for the next time you compete. It's not about if you win or lose a show. I don't know if it's different because of social media, but
Dorian tore a bicep and a tricep, got on the stage at the Miss Olympia. Jay did the same thing Good Vito did. He admitted he had a bad shot. He looked like he had a straight line going down when the year he lost to Phil. He still got up on stage, man. There's no excuses, man.
If I was Good Vito, I would still get on stage. Would y'all not? I mean, he's got a tear.
At this point in time, you're still going to be in the money.
That's what I'm saying.
If it's not a health scare, then that's different. Because I remember I bowed out of a show that I thought I had a health scare, but it actually turned out not to be. And I was sitting there with tears in my eyes because I'm watching that the guys wasn't that good a shape, and that would probably been my time to win that Olympia. That was in the year 2000.
What do you think about the whole Ronnie Raquel thing? Him then not letting him compete at the Masters Olympia because he got his pro card, because he did the other division years ago. I think that's silly not to reinstate him now. If it happened way back then, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I probably personally would have let him compete. I competed against him, a lot of times, and I think he did a lot for the sport and a lot for his country. So I think it'd be good to see.
He was a good guy too. Good guy.
Yeah. I don't see why not. That's just me, Yeah. Just me.
It don't make any sense. What do y'all think? What do you think about the old school slang and bang training versus the more optimal training styles? Jewett, Belusky, Justin Shire, Meadows, and Bennett. Do you think it matters or does it? Well, Chris.
Go ahead. I mean, I think I probably could have even put together a better physique if I had more control over or connected with the muscles instead of just moving the weight. I teach more precise training, and I could target a certain area on the physique and improve that area. But
Chris, I'll say it if you're too modest and too much of a nice guy. Our era was the best. Our style was the best. When magazines left, it killed everything, man. That's my belief. Every one of us here used to wait that the first day of the month just to go to the bookstore and get that flex, get the Muscle Man, get the Iron Man. I remember getting goosebumps, man. Who's gonna? It's done, man.
You know, King. That's the beauty of it, that they would never understand, because to wait for that whole month to get the next meeting, and the thrill you got, and the motivation you receive, just to turn to the next page and get a crazy shot, like, yeah, like that feeling.
Oh yeah.
Take that to the gym with you, and then, like, you know, I just need. I mean, and I'll be good for a whole month until the next. Yeah. I'll be good
from the cover to cover. You would memorize everything.
Oh yeah, everything.
Every article, everything that goes in there.
And then we had Pump and Iron, then we had Pump and Iron 2. That was our videos, and then we had the Barbarian Brothers came out with a movie, and then Arnold had the Conan. That was our movies that we watched, and then that was the magazines that we read.
And then Mitz came along and started Battle for the Olympia, which was because if you kids out there haven't seen the Battle for the Olympia videos, you're missing out, man.
Well,
they're all on YouTube now. You can find them on YouTube.
I'm in touch with Mitsuru still. We talk on DM. He's like, I told him, I said, man, he's never even been to the FIBO. He told me. I was like, what? Wow. I said, you have to go to the FIBO, man. I said, next year I'll help you get to the FIBO if that's what it takes. You can't lead this life without going to the FIBO.
Yeah, man.
And then he just but he talks here every once in a while, show me a photo that I haven't seen of myself. He had crazy good photos too. Remember after the show in New Orleans, and he was videotaping me a lot. We were dancing on the dance floor, and he was out there with his camera on the dance floor. He had those keypads on and shit. And then me and you was out there dancing on it. We was like, mimicking each other and shit. Remember?
I remember that, man. I remember you knew the best spot for po' boys. You said, nah, King, forget these fancy restaurants. I know where to go. He took us to this fucking dump, the best po' boys we've ever had in our lives, man.
Yeah. I went to your room that night. That's right.
I know. I remember running into Aaron Madrin at that gay club. Remember that? We walked in for 5 seconds. We didn't know what it was. We walked in for 5 seconds, and we're like, "Oh yeah, nothing against gay." We saw it, and then there was Aaron Madrin standing there with his girlfriend in a gay club. I'm like, "What the hell?"
Hey, I remember what happened to them, man. Damn, I remember I was talking to her one time. Aaron was with Muscle Tech.
He's one of those guys that just disappeared too, right? When he quit.
Yeah,
he was rolling his ass off. When we saw him, he was grinding his teeth and sweating, and then sweating profusely, grinding his teeth. And me and Chris looked at each other and we're like, "That's Aaron, man. What the fuck?" It was just a shock because he was like this all-American, blonde, blue-eyed, your quintessential Weeder, toaster boy.
Yeah, that's what's up. Hey,
what do you want to see this? What do you want to see this next year, Chris? Like, what do you want to see happen? Like in the whole industry. You got the amateur level. You got the new fit category. We shared our thoughts on that. What do you want to see in bodybuilding whole? They're just bringing so much. And also the number of competitors at the Olympia. The bikini girls, the men's got 60 competitors, 70 competitors, 50 competitors. It's just like. Dude, why can't they fly just 15 or 20? I don't understand these numbers. Okay, there might be a lot of people that deserve, but you got to narrow it down to the most prestigious show in the world. This going to a show and sitting through all that, or they got to put on a different day. What would you like to see?
I don't know how to come up with a system to where it's cut down that many years, but I know there's a lot of people qualify. I don't know how to structure it. It's a blessing though to have that many countries involved with bodybuilding. It wasn't that many countries when we were doing it, but I don't know how to do it, man. I don't know what the system would be, but if you say that everyone goes to the show, but then there's a system where you can cut down to a top 30 at least. 30 is
Yeah.
good. 30 is enough for myself. But I don't know how you do it because I know it's probably very expensive to fly that many people out to Olympia.
Yeah, and I think they should take that prize, cut it off around whatever 30, and take all the extra money you're flying all those extra people out with. That's got to be an additional what? I don't know, 30, 40, 50, wherever they're coming from, 1,000, and give that to the competitors. Whether it be the top place or some spots down where they're not earning as much. Give those guys some more money just for working their ass off and making it there.
I don't know how to make that happen. I don't know if you you qualify, but you qualify, you're good. Here's your money, but I'm not going to give you an invitation.
Well, Chris, the saturation of the sport. I've made this point with Armon with so many of our guests. I'm going to ask you the same question. Who won the Nationals last year? Who won the USA's last year?
Well,
Who won the North Americans last year?
Well, here's the thing.
Hold on. My point is, if I was asking you these questions about 20 years ago, you would have said, okay, that was Chris Cormier. That was Lex Wheeler. That was King Kamali. That was the Willie Stalling. The amateurs that won their pro cards when we were competing were stars. We were stars already before we went into the pro ranks. Now, one guy used to win the pro card at the USA's. One. I mean, kids, are you listening out there? One. That's it. We went from that to 220 pro cards being handed out at these shows. I think that was the saturation.
I think it's close to 1,000 now. I think it's close to 1,000 now.
My only thing would be like, what do you do with a pro card? Would be more so that the question to me, as opposed to who's getting them. Are you going to compete, or why are we coming up with shows where not that many open bodybuilders?
Armon, you were talking about this last time.
It retires them once they get their pro card. It retires them because they can't. They don't have the pro caliber physique. We've all seen the shows lately, King. Whatever shows we covered before. You got your certain guys, and then you got the guys up there. They wouldn't have placed top 10 at nationals, 10 or 20 years ago.
It's doing that more so than the bodies coming up. But how do you fix it? I don't know. But we have something to try to understand or get a better grip on, so it can be more, I don't know, more feasible. I can put it that way, more feasible.
Armon, let's do it. All right, Chris. You're
Shit.
gonna love this. The speed.
Whenever Keith goes like this, I know I'm in.
This means trouble. All right, Chris. Very simple, man. We do this with all the guests. Speed round. I'm gonna say something. You say the first thing that pops into your head.
This is so you, man.
Of course, it's me. I spent a good half an hour on your list last night. I want to make sure it's a classic list. All right. So first of all, before even the speed round, I want to clarify one thing, and then we're going to get into the speed round. Is it Cormier or is it Cormier? Please end the debate right now.
It's supposed to be Cormier.
Okay.
Cormier.
So it's Cormier.
Yes.
Okay. So
does it bother you when people say Cormier?
We just solved the whole argument right now.
Monsieur Cormier.
Okay. All right. All right, Chris, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite cheat meal?
Pizza. I don't know. I would say donuts.
Fast.
Donuts. I love that. Better run show, the Arnold Classic or the Mr. Olympia?
I'm going to go with the king of all shows, Olympia.
Okay. 100% Flex Wheeler versus 100% Chris Cormier. Who wins?
Cormier.
Woo! Love it. New York or Miami?
Shit. New York.
Love that.
I was looking at my experiences. But Miami's up there too, but I'd say New York.
I've had the same experiences, my friend. I still pick New York. All right. Melvin Anthony.
Dancing.
Okay. Paul Dillette.
Shit.
Come on, speed round. First thing that pops in
I
your head.
know. I'm cheating a little bit, ain't I? I'm cheating.
Yeah. First thing that pops in your head, man.
That's
All
my
the way.
guy. That's my guy. That's
My
my
guy.
guy. That's my
Chad
guy.
Nichols.
That's my coach.
Okay. Tupac or Biggie?
Pac.
I knew you were going to say that.
Damn
Ice
it.
Cube or Snoop?
Snoop. Ah,
The
that's
Sound
hard.
Factory, New York City,
Sound
or the
Factory.
Ministry of Sound in London?
Sound Factory.
Thank you, my friends.
Before you even come out, like Sound Factory.
Well, people
Before, hey,
have heard
the bottom basement.
people have heard stories, but they just don't know. They just don't.
We
know.
gotta do a whole nother show on the Sound
Oh
Factory.
yeah. Okay. All right. Favorite NFL football team?
Cowboys.
Cowboys. What's coming up? Canelo or Crawford?
Crawford.
Love it. Best era in bodybuilding?
90s.
Perfect. Who's winning the Olympia this year? Come on, Chris.
Derek.
Just say it.
Derek.
Okay. All right, this has been all over the viral, all over the internet. I got to ask you, 100 men versus one silverback gorilla. Who wins?
Silverback gorilla.
I love it. Thank you. 100% Kai Green versus 100% Hadi Chupon. Who wins?
Kai Green.
I agree. Louis Vuitton or Gucci?
Louis.
You can't go Chris without saying Louis.
Louis.
King Kamali and Chris Cormier in Las Vegas.
Trouble.
100% Chris Cormier versus 100% Jay Cutler. Who wins?
Shit. Depends on how you. I mean.
Come on, Chris. Just say it.
I mean,
Politics aside.
I don't know, man.
This is him being Chris.
I like my body better. I don't want to trade.
He's being modest. All right.
I don't want to trade, but Jay's got some Olympia wins, so you can go with Jay. I give
100% Dexter Jackson versus 100% Sean Ray.
Dexter Jackson.
I agree. Best gym you ever trained at?
Oxygen.
Okay. Well, this is the easy one. East Coast or West Coast? I shouldn't even ask that question. Never mind. Worst injury you've ever had?
My back. That was staph infection in my spine.
At what show did you have your best version of Chris Cormier?
Olympia 99, Mandalay Bay.
Yes, agreed. And the last one, best advice you can give to the new generation.
Stop trying to speed things up. Stop trying to be the youngest to do it, the youngest to be a pro, the youngest that look like you're a damn chemical experiment at a young age. Stop that shit.
Yep, perfect.
And then Chris, like we talked about earlier, everybody took the breaks off this time. Nobody takes breaks anymore. Men's physique guys, none of these guys are taking breaks anymore. How they think you're crazy if you mention a break, or they think you're lying or whatever. Do you think we're going to see a lot more people, including Men's Physique Classic, all these guys in another 20 years getting we're seeing it now with a lot of people passing away, but a lot more guys getting sick in the future from stressing their organs out all year round? I mean, because when you take stuff, your cholesterol, your liver enzymes, kidney, it goes up and it goes down.
Numbers are different. I would like to see more people you're not going to taking more stuff or staying on longer is not the key to being more healthy. I think taking a break is better. Even now, I mean, the last few years, I probably did 2 shots in the last few years. I don't really even do the TRT even to this day, even though I probably would be better off doing so. But I mean, here and there, it's been for me like I just rather not do it if I don't have to. My testosterone is not great. It's probably like 3 something. not great, but not bad. I'm 57 years old, and yeah, man, I'm still healthy though. I mean, people would have never thought that I would have made it this far, but look at me. Look at me now. Look at me.
Yeah, Chris, you look great, brother. I'm so proud of you. I think it's something that you did, and I'm doing myself, and a lot of us, the smart ones, we're coming back. We did our thing, and we stepped away for a little bit, but now we're all coming back. I got the podcast. I got these clients. This is the first year I'm actually gonna go to the Mr. Olympia. I will see you in the front row.
You've been saying this for a few years now.
I haven't been there in 10 years, man.
I know, but you've been telling you. I remember the last time you was there.
I was doing the backstage thing with Chad. I remember.
Yeah, we hung out. We hung out afterwards.
Oh,
remember?
yes, I remember. I was there. Look, I'm not gonna say what happened that night. We're gonna leave it at this, Armon. All I'm gonna say is we ended up in a hotel room somewhere in Vegas with girls that were topless walking around in the living room. That's all I'm gonna say.
The good old times. Now you get like
this was years ago, so don't get crazy, guys.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
The camera phones and all that run everything now.
We're retired, just still doing our thing. That's for sure.
Armon, it was a shock because it was so like we didn't even know what was. They just took them off and started walking around.
Hey, we just started laughing. Remember?
Only me and Chris can end up in a situation like that where you're just not even expecting it and it just happens.
No,
man,
very different times.
We got to do an after party one of these times, man.
Oh yeah, I'm down with that. 100%.
Will people go? Will people go these days? Everybody just goes home now. It goes their own way.
I know, right? I mean, there's a whole. I think it's a different little crew, but I think that the after party Godfather's in the house. I think there might be some people show up. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys, man.
Yeah, Chris. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Chris, thank you, brother. Love you, man.
Love you, brother.
Yeah.
I'll see you, man.
Right,
I'll see you on the DM, brother.
Yeah.
All right.
Later.
Take care, man.
Peace. Later.